Welcome, focused learners. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on this massive, totally invisible operation that affects literally every single one of us every single day. Our goal for this explainer is to completely demystify the incredible and honestly quite fascinating technology that keeps our food safe. We're going to be exploring what we call the hidden shield, that critical barrier standing between the pretty chaotic reality of mass food production and the pristine, safe meals that actually make it to your dinner table.
Okay, let's dive into this. It's so easy to look at a perfectly sealed bag of frozen peas and just kind of imagine this pristine, magical journey from a sunny farm right to your freezer. But the reality? It is far more industrial and, frankly, way more hazardous. The sheer massive scale of harvesting and processing means that some truly surprising things, like we're talking actual tractor parts here, can and absolutely do get swept right up along with your vegetables.
Section 1. The threat of metal. Because out there on the factory floor, metal contamination is just this constant, looming threat that requires some serious technological intervention.
This industrial chaos essentially comes from four main sources, and honestly, they're pretty wild to think about. First, we have raw materials. We are talking about literal lead shot hidden in meat or stray wire tangled up at a wheat harvest. Second, personal effects. Think about it. Things just drop out of workers' pockets, right? Buttons, coins, pens. Third is maintenance. After a machine gets repaired, a left-behind screwdriver, a piece of copper wire, or even welding slag can so easily just fall into the product flow. And finally, in-plant processing itself. Things like broken screens or metal slivers physically grinding off the factory's own machines. It is literally a daily battle against contamination.
Section 2. Anatomy of a detector. Thankfully, the food industry has built a formidable defense, and this is where our technological shield comes into play.
Let's move to and see how this builds. A standard industrial metal detection system isn't just some solid block of metal. It is a highly sophisticated sequence of four vital parts working in perfect chronological harmony. First up, the transport system literally carries the food in. Next, it passes right through the detector head, which acts as the watchful eye of the whole operation. Then there's the user interface. That's the electronic brain, where operators actually control the process. And finally, if a threat is found, the automatic rejection mechanism instantly springs into action to remove it.
And this brilliantly illustrates how we differentiate the two main types of detector heads, which are chosen based entirely on how the food is packaged. So on one side, you've got the balanced coil. This is the total workhorse. It detects all metals, whether the food is completely unwrapped or even if it's wrapped up in metallized films. On the other side is the ferrous in foil detector. This one uses permanent magnets specifically designed for finding ferrous, meaning magnetic metals, that might be hiding inside really thick aluminum foil wrapping.
But you might be wondering, how does the food actually travel through that detector head's aperture? Well, it completely depends on what the food is. For solid, packaged goods, standard conveyor belts totally do the trick. But the whole system is incredibly adaptable. If you're inspecting loose granular items, you'd likely use inclined plastic chutes. And for liquids or powders, the food just flows straight through vertical, non-metallic pipes, with the detector wrapped right around it. It's really clever.
Now, what actually happens when that detector spots a piece of wire or some welding slag? It has to be removed instantly and with absolute precision. These automatic rejection devices are engineered for total, fail-safe removal. Depending on the product, the system might use a really high-pressure air blast to just blow the contaminant right off the line, or maybe a mechanical push arm, or even drop flaps that open up like a trapdoor. The contaminated product is then safely and automatically diverted straight into a secure, lockable container, so there is absolutely zero chance it re-enters the food stream.
Section 3. Catching the culprits. Now that we understand the machine itself, we need to talk about the specific metals we're actually hunting and exactly where on the factory floor we choose to hunt them.
These detectors are strategically placed in two main phases. First, there's bulk in-process inspection. This happens super early on. Imagine scanning huge blocks of meat before they even get ground up. This catches the large metal pieces before they can break apart, which brilliantly protects the factory's incredibly expensive processing machinery from getting wrecked. Then, we have finished product inspection at the very end of the line. This guarantees there's no danger of subsequent contamination and ensures that the brand's quality standards are met perfectly. Ultimately, combining both bulk and finished inspection, that's what provides the optimum protection for both the factory equipment and, most importantly, the final consumer.
But here's the thing. Not all metal is created equal. Ferrous metals, like iron, are generally the easiest to detect. Then we step up to non-ferrous metals, things like brass, copper, aluminum, and lead. Those sit at about a medium difficulty level.
But the ultimate ninja of food contaminants? That would be stainless steel. The food industry uses it absolutely everywhere, but common non-magnetic grades, specifically grades 316 and 304, are just incredibly difficult for standard detectors to see. You literally need highly tuned, alternating current balanced coil systems to spot these totally stealthy particles.
Section 4. The business of safety. While protecting the consumer is obviously paramount, this technology is also the absolute heartbeat of the factory's profitability.
Check this out, 28 to 40%. That is a staggering statistic. Research suggests that, on average, manufacturing plants waste between 28 and 40% of their entire capacity. That is a massive loss, and it bleeds out through unexpected stops, speed losses, minor interruptions, and product defects. And if your safety equipment isn't perfectly reliable, it adds directly to that waste. Now, what's really interesting about this is how businesses combat that waste using a concept called overall equipment effectiveness, or OEE. In capital-intensive businesses, OEE is basically the ultimate methodology. It captures manufacturing performance data to drive efficiency, boost quality, and slash costs. But here's a crucial warning from the experts. While you can go out and buy software to track OEE, that software is just a tool. It only measures OEE. It doesn't actually improve it on its own. You have to actively harness that data and apply it to your physical machines, like our metal detectors.
When you do integrate a highly reliable, easy-to-clean metal detector into your OEE methodology, it optimizes your entire factory's heartbeat across 4 crucial pillars. For equipment, it slashes costly downtime and improves lifecycle management. For personnel, it empowers your operators with much better visibility, driving serious labor efficiency. For your process, it helps uncover those hidden bottlenecks on the floor. And for quality, it directly increases your rate of perfectly good product while severely reducing scrap.
This technology perfectly bridges the gap between strict regulatory compliance, like HACCP rules, and pure business value. A finely tuned metal detection system manages your overall lifetime costs by doing one incredibly important thing: eliminating false rejects. Look, a false reject is a tragic waste. It's when perfectly safe, high-value finished products get thrown right in the trash simply because a machine got confused. Highly accurate detection stops that bleeding entirely.
So, the crucial point is this. Protecting the consumer by keeping metal out of their food isn't just a strict legal necessity. It ultimately protects the brand's reputation and bolsters the bottom line. It's a beautifully aligned system where maintaining high standards in safety directly creates high standards in business competitiveness.
Which leaves us with this final thought. Next time you open your pantry and reach for a box of pasta or a bag of frozen vegetables, just consider the incredible journey it took to get there. Ask yourself, what invisible, highly sophisticated industrial shields were deployed, silently scanning and filtering, just to keep your family's food safe from the chaotic reality of mass production? It is pretty amazing when you really think about it. Thank you so much for diving into the details and learning with us today.